Hello, and welcome to my channel. Relax, and get ready to listen to today's story. Today, I'm going to tell you an incredible story about a cozy camping trip in the wilderness. Emily Thompson stood on the edge of a cliff, her camera in hand, capturing the breathtaking view before her. The wind whipped through her hair as she soaked in the beauty of the vast Pacific Northwest forest below. This was her element, her passion. Emily was a freelance photographer, but she was more than that. She was an adventurer, a seeker of hidden wonders. Her heart beat with an insatiable desire to explore the unknown. The cliff overlooked a sprawling forest, its lush green canopy stretching as far as the eye could see. Towering trees reached towards the sky, their branches swaying in the gentle breeze. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. The air was crisp and filled with the earthy scent of moss and pine. Meanwhile, deep within the dense forest, Mark Johnson, a park ranger with a weathered face and kind eyes, stood among the towering trees. He breathed in the crisp air, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. Mark had always felt a deep connection to nature, as if it held secrets he was destined to uncover. As a park ranger, he dedicated his life to preserving the wilderness and ensuring its beauty would be enjoyed for generations to come. Mark's love for the forest ran deep. He had spent countless hours exploring every inch of this vast wilderness, uncovering hidden trails and secret spots. He knew every nook and cranny, every creature that called this place home. But there was something missing, someone to share this beauty with, someone who truly appreciated it. It was summer in the Pacific Northwest, with warm days and cool nights. The forest was alive with vibrant greens and the songs of birds. Emily had heard tales of this remote and untouched wilderness, and she knew she had to experience it for herself. Mark, on the other hand, had spent years immersed in this forest, but he felt a pull to share its beauty with someone who could truly understand and appreciate it. Emily arrived at the trailhead, her backpack filled with camping gear and her camera securely strapped around her neck. She looked around, searching for Mark, whom she had only met briefly before. Suddenly, she spotted him, a tall figure with a friendly smile. "Mark," she called out, waving her arm in the air. Mark turned towards her voice and smiled warmly. "Emily. I'm glad you made it," he said, extending his hand in greeting. Emily shook his hand firmly. "I couldn't pass up the opportunity to explore this incredible forest with someone who knows it so well," she replied. Mark chuckled. "Well, I'm honored to be your guide. Let's get started." As they set off on their camping trip, Emily and Mark fell into an easy conversation. They talked about their shared love for nature and their motivations for being in the wilderness. Emily spoke passionately about her desire to capture the beauty of the world through her camera lens, while Mark shared his deep respect for the delicate balance of the ecosystem. The trail wound its way through the forest, the sunlight filtering through the dense canopy above. The air was filled with the scent of pine and damp earth. Emily marveled at the towering trees that surrounded them, their trunks covered in vibrant mosses and ferns. Mark pointed out various plants and animals along the way, sharing his knowledge and stories of his encounters with wildlife. As they hiked deeper into the forest, Mark couldn't help but share local legends and survival tips with Emily. He told her about the elusive creatures that roamed these woods and the hidden treasures that lay waiting to be discovered. Emily listened intently, her eyes shining with excitement. The main trail wound its way through the forest, but Emily's adventurous spirit led her to suggest deviating from the beaten path. Intrigued by the idea of exploring a hidden trail, Mark agreed, knowing that he could trust Emily's instincts. They followed a narrow path that seemed to disappear into the thick undergrowth. The forest became denser, and the sunlight struggled to penetrate the canopy above. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of birdsong faded into an eerie silence. After hours of wandering through the labyrinthine forest, Emily and Mark realized they had lost their way. Panic began to set in as nightfall approached and the temperature dropped. They knew they needed to find shelter before darkness engulfed them completely. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she looked around, searching for any signs of familiarity. The dense foliage seemed to close in on them, making it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. Mark remained calm, his years of experience in the forest guiding his actions. "We need to find a safe place to spend the night," Mark said, his voice steady. "Let's look for a clearing or a rock formation where we can set up camp." Emily nodded, her eyes scanning the surroundings. Suddenly, she spotted a small opening in the trees ahead. "Over there," she exclaimed, pointing in the direction of the clearing. They hurried towards the clearing, relief washing over them as they found a small patch of flat ground surrounded by towering trees. They quickly set about gathering fallen branches and leaves to build a makeshift shelter. With trembling hands and determined hearts, they worked together, their movements fueled by the need to survive. As the fire crackled, casting dancing shadows on their faces, they found solace in each other's presence. The warmth of the fire chased away the chill in the air, and they huddled close, finding comfort in their shared struggle. Emily and Mark's hearts raced as they faced the reality of being lost in the wilderness. Fear gnawed at their insides, threatening to paralyze them. but they refused to give in to despair. Drawing upon their knowledge of survival techniques, they gathered fallen branches and leaves to build a makeshift shelter. With trembling hands and determined hearts, they worked together, their movements fueled by the need to survive. As the fire crackled, casting dancing shadows on their faces, they found solace in each other's presence. In the safety of their shelter, Emily and Mark shared stories of their past adventures. They laughed at their own missteps and reveled in the triumphs. Through their shared experiences, they developed a deeper bond, realizing that they were not alone in this vast wilderness. As the night wore on, the forest came alive with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant howls. Emily and Mark exchanged wary glances as they heard the unmistakable growl of a bear nearby. They knew they had to remain calm and think quickly. Mark motioned for Emily to stay still as he slowly reached for his bear spray. He had encountered bears before, but this was different. The bear was larger than any he had seen, its eyes gleaming with a mix of curiosity and hunger. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she watched Mark prepare to defend them. She knew they were at the mercy of nature, but she refused to let fear consume her. She took a deep breath and focused on the present moment, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the bear turned away, seemingly disinterested in the two humans, Emily and Mark breathed a sigh of relief. Little did they know that their encounter with wildlife was far from over. A few days later, as they continued their journey through the forest, they stumbled upon a pack of wolves. The wolves watched them with keen eyes, their presence a reminder of the untamed beauty of the wilderness. Emily and Mark knew they had to tread carefully, respecting the boundaries of these majestic creatures. The forest was alive with the sounds of nature, the gentle rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the distant howls of wolves. Emily and Mark moved cautiously, aware of the delicate balance between humans and wildlife. As they continued their journey through the dense forest, they encountered a variety of animals. Deer gracefully leaped through the underbrush, their eyes watchful yet unafraid. Squirrels scurried up trees, their bushy tails flicking in the sunlight. Birds sang melodious songs from their perches, their vibrant feathers adding splashes of color to the green landscape. Emily and Mark marveled at the diversity of life around them. They paused frequently to capture these moments on camera, each click of the shutter capturing a piece of the forest's magic. They felt a deep sense of gratitude for being able to witness such beauty up close. One afternoon, as they hiked along a narrow trail, they stumbled upon a family of black bears. The mother bear stood protectively near her cubs, her eyes fixed on the intruders. Emily and Mark froze, not wanting to provoke any aggression. Mark slowly raised his hand, signaling for Emily to stay still. They watched in awe as the bears went about their business, oblivious to their human observers. It was a humbling experience, a reminder that they were mere guests in this wild realm. One afternoon, as Emily ventured deeper into the forest, her foot caught on a hidden root, causing her to stumble. As she reached out to steady herself, her hand brushed against a fallen tree. Curiosity sparked within her as she noticed something wedged beneath it. With a surge of excitement, Emily knelt down and carefully extracted an old journal from its hiding place. The pages were yellowed with age, and the ink had faded, but the words were still legible. She realized that she had stumbled upon a hidden story, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Mark joined her, his eyes widening as he read the journal entries. The author spoke of a lost treasure hidden deep within the forest, a treasure that held the key to their salvation. Emily and Mark exchanged glances, their determination ignited by the possibility of finding their way back home. They studied the journal entries, deciphering the cryptic clues left behind by the author. Each clue led them deeper into the heart of the forest, to places they had never explored before. They followed the instructions meticulously, their excitement growing with each step. Armed with the journal's clues, Emily and Mark set off on a new quest. They followed the instructions meticulously, their excitement growing with each step. But the forest had other plans for them. As they navigated treacherous terrain and overcame hidden traps, they encountered a rival treasure hunter who sought the same prize. A man with a hardened face and greedy eyes, he would stop at nothing to claim the treasure for himself. Emily and Mark knew they couldn't let this rival deter them. They relied on their wit and resourcefulness, outsmarting their adversary at every turn. The twists and turns of their journey pushed their limits, forcing them to dig deep for strength they didn't know they possessed. Finally, after days of relentless pursuit, Emily and Mark found themselves standing before the hidden treasure. Their eyes widened as they beheld the glittering jewels and ancient artifacts. But as they reached out to touch them, they realized that this treasure was not what they had expected. The treasure did not lead them back to safety. It did not hold the answers they sought. Instead, it was a reminder of the true treasure they had discovered within themselves, the power of resilience and the connection they had forged with nature. With renewed determination, Emily and Mark used their newfound strength and knowledge to navigate their way back to civilization. Each step was a testament to their unwavering spirit, their ability to face adversity head-on. Emerging from the wilderness, Emily and Mark stood on the edge of civilization, forever changed by their experiences. The forest had tested them, pushed them to their limits, but it had also shown them its incredible beauty and the strength that lay within them. As they reflected on their journey, Emily and Mark felt a sense of wonder and gratitude. They realized that the true treasure they had found was not material wealth, but the resilience that had carried them through the darkest moments. They vowed to carry this resilience with them always, cherishing the memories of their time in the wilderness. And so, as they stepped back into the bustling world, Emily and Mark carried with them a renewed appreciation for the power of resilience in the face of adversity. They knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them with unwavering strength and a deep connection to the natural world.